Hey, Atlanta and NFL fans, welcome to another episode of NFL Jocks and Pigskins on Atlanta Sports Unlimited channel. I'm your host, Dave Holcomb, with, as always, Tom Pollen. Tom, I guess we've had a couple weeks off. I guess I shouldn't say as always. The last episode we had was the one that you've missed.
Yeah,
How's everything going with you? And great to have you back.
yeah, everything's going well. My wife had some problems; she needed surgery, and some kind of repercussions from radiation surgery treatments that she had a couple of years ago. Scar tissue accumulated, but they went in, they took care of the issues, and she's coming along. She's doing better. So she just had the staples removed from the incision yesterday, and you know things are going well. So, basically, just as a warning, I know a lot of people, try and tough their way through a lot of pain. And she woke up in excruciating pain a week ago Friday. And as I say, especially guys, we're too tough. I hurt. Just rub it off. We'll be all right. You know, we're men, we're manly men. And get it, especially if you've had major surgeries before. If you've had surgeries before, get it checked out, because they told her if she had waited, it could have been a lot more serious. So it's a good thing they went in and cut when they did, because it saved a lot of problems down the line. So yeah, don't put it off. If you got pain, if you've had major surgeries before, you're in pain. Something doesn't feel right. Pain is your body's way of saying, "Hey, something's wrong. Let's we got to get something taken care of here." So, fortunately we did, and everything's going good.
That's good to hear. Glad everything's okay and that she's healing, doing well. And today we're going to get back to business here on the show.
Oh, yeah.
We're talking some Atlanta Falcons, of course. I also wouldn't mind opening up some Hawks conversation. I know that maybe, I don't know how much pay attention there in Chicago, but I guess I'll tell my own story here for, how my relationship with the NBA. I was a big NBA fan, following it for work back in 2014, 2015. I knew all the players. I watched a lot of games. Mm-hmm. And I think because of work, I just started watching other leagues more closely. Didn't have time for the NBA, unfortunately. And it just fell off the wayside for me the last 5 years, really. And buying a house here in Atlanta, Marietta, a little north of Atlanta, I decided I want to start following the Hawks. I want to be a Hawks fan. And I was going to start next year, but I'm starting now with the way the team.
Yeah, they're making a heck of a run, aren't they?
Yeah, awesome run. Again, I'm not the biggest NBA fan anymore, but this is not normal for the NBA. I mean, it's not. The Hawks are they got hot at the end of the season, and they're riding that momentum. I know that they played not so well last night, but they're riding that momentum to a conference final and maybe a championship. Who knows? That doesn't normally happen in the NBA. That's an NFL or baseball thing that happens.
Right.
NBA, it's normally LeBron James or Steph Curry, best players, not teams that get hot like the Hawks are right now.
Well, that's one of the things that actually turned me off about the Miss Maggie T. She's here.
She is here.
All right, Maggie. That's one of the things that really kind of put me off about the NBA for a little while. It's that you create these super teams, and
right,
like LeBron did, and it put me off a little bit, because I guess, I think back to the Jordan years in Chicago, and, Michael Jordan was the team, but, he didn't win championships until they put a supporting cast around him. And there were a lot of solid players around him, and it wasn't an era when you could actually, go out and have a player recruit his supporting cast.
I mean, Scottie Pippen is a fantastic player in his own right as well.
But the first 3 years you had Horace Grant, you had Bill Cartwright and John Paxson, and the second 3 Luke Longley and Dennis Rodman. You had guys who were good support, and there was it seemed to be a lot more competition for that top spot. The Bulls were always going against the Knicks. The Knicks were tough. They faced the Utah Jazz a couple of times in the finals. It just seemed like it wasn't. It's almost like it's cut and dried. And you're right. This is a weird year. This is a weird season. That we haven't seen one of those assembled teams come to the forefront. We got a couple of teams here who don't really carry that huge superstar name that's kind of pulled Mad Mike. And great show last week, guys. Really enjoyed listening to it. So you guys did a heck of a job, and always enjoyed Mad Mike on the show. So I like what they're doing this year. You got the Hawks and Bucks are really gonna have a great 7-game series.
Yeah, it's shaping up like that as well. Again, I mean, it was disappointing last night, big loss for the Hawks, but the series is 1-1. So
right,
the Hawks have lost every game 2 so far this postseason. They've won the first 2 series. So that's not that big of a deal. They lost last night.
Yeah, exactly. So you don't worry about it too much.
Right. Yeah.
You just go on to the next game. It's just that way, and it's exciting. So it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. But one of the things, and you were talking about, you fell away from the NBA for a little while.
Yeah,
I have too, because it's just with work, and it's not like when I was growing up. When I had time, I could follow baseball, football, hockey, basketball, and I knew everything about every sport.
Right.
And you just lose the time where you can follow it all. And yeah, basketball is kind of been one of the things that's fallen by the wayside for me. And not because I don't like basketball. It's fallen by the wayside. Hockey has a little bit. Because you just don't have the time. And then we do our football stuff. I started writing football. I started, immersing myself in the NFL a lot more. And the NFL, as we know, is 24/7.
Yeah.
But
I think we've talked about this before, adding to your point that it's such a niche sports market now, where you can get every single game thanks to the streaming packages, which we've also talked about on the show before, that you can watch the same sport all the time. There's no reason to have ESPN on your TV all the time and watch whatever's on ESPN, and you get a variety of sports.
Right.
Rather than doing that, you're seeking out your favorite sport. And it's not, you don't have anything against basketball or hockey, but it's not your favorite. So it's harder to seek out, because all your free time or all your sports time, you're seeking out football or baseball or whatever is your preference.
Well, especially since I have to write about it. So, I mean, and we talk about it. So, but you're right. ESPN used to be appointment watching for me every morning.
Yeah.
And you got the highlights from every sport all around the league. I think ESPN actually started getting a little too specialized on SportsCenter, talking about single topics and kind of taking you away from the we're covering the world of sports type deal.
I'm laughing because we could spend weeks talking about ESPN and their coverage and what they used to do well and what they don't do well anymore. I guess part of it is the world we live in now. I guess a highlight show just wouldn't work, because by 9 a.m. everyone's seen the highlights from the night before. Everyone's seen it on Twitter or whatever else you're on your smartphone. But what made ESPN special was SportsCenter and having all the highlights from every single game, not on every single analyst they can hire that's a retired player and breaking down, the latest thing from Jerry Jones. Like that wasn't what made SportsCenter must-see TV for a long, long time in the 90s and early 2000s. But then they went, I guess, the CNN route where we have updates on Brett Favre and his retirement. We have Tiger Woods and his drama with his wife and all of these big sports stories worth covering. But it got into that and the drama as opposed to a highlight show where I could go and I could find out everything that was going on in all four major sports, see all the highlights.
Yeah, I knew it all. I'd watch an hour of SportsCenter and I was good for the day. And
I would watch it again, even though it was the same show. It didn't matter.
Yes, exactly. A funny thing, and before we get into, and I know you guys are dying for regular football content, and I apologize. I'm going to get off the track a little bit. I was working store remodeling, that kind of stuff with True Value Hardware, and they sent me to the Cayman Islands. And I figured, well, the Cayman Islands not that far from the U.S. It's, on the other side of Cuba from Florida. And I figured, well, what turned on the TV my first morning there, and I'm like, well, they got ESPN. I'm going to catch SportsCenter. And I turned on ESPN, and it was cricket. So I figured, hey, it's cool. I'm a contemporary guy. I can deal with this. I'm open to new things.
Right. Yeah.
And I'll be damned if I still don't know what the hell they're doing when they play this game.
Right. Games last for days, right?
Oh God, I haven't figured that game out yet. Yes, it's hilarious. I'm like, it's a foul ball. That's they're running, and I'm like, no, it's foul. But that's the hell of it. I missed ESPN for the 6 weeks that I was in the Cayman Islands because
I bet you did,
missed SportsCenter.
Right.
Because it was hard to keep up with what was happening.
Mm-hmm.
So, but from cricket to the Atlanta Falcons.
Right. Yeah. So, moral of the story: we're open to talking some Hawks and some NBA today as well.
Yeah.
Since the Hawks are such a big thing here in Atlanta right now, we are going to talk some Falcons as well. But any Hawks comments you have, we would love to get those as well today.
Even though I'm not, don't expect expertise out of me.
Well, that's true. This isn't the best place for breaking down the Hawks. That we'll leave to our other videos on Atlanta Sports Unlimited.
I was about to say we have shows on this channel on Atlanta Sports Unlimited that will break down everything for you.
Right.
Anything you want to know. So,
but casual Hawks talk we're for today. And we're going to also talk about the Falcons and looking at the 17-game schedule this season, what Atlanta Falcons records may go down. And we're also looking at overall NFL records that possibly could be shattered or broken this season because of the extra game. And there was some news out of Chicago. It was last week.
Yeah.
But I think we're going to hit upon that today as well on today's show.
Yeah, it's been continuing. It's still fresh news, believe me. And a few other more developments this week. But, something affecting the NFL taking place here in Chicago.
So, as always, send us your questions on the Falcons or the NFL or comments. We'll read them on the air if you send them live in person. And you can tweet at us at TJ Pollen at DM Holcomb afterwards if you're watching on replay, and we can read a comment next week, or we'll just follow us there for our latest show news. But I do want to give a shout out to the Falcoholic, because this is where we got the idea for this discussion today. The Falcoholic did an article this week on Atlanta Falcons records, team records, single season records for the team, and kind of looked at the probability of which ones could go down with the 17th game added to the schedule this season. And it's an interesting, topic. It's going to be a lot easier. Well, maybe a lot isn't the right term, but it's going to be. I mean, you have an extra game. It's going to lead to quite a few records, I would say, going down just because of the extra week to the 2021 season.
Yeah, that's what happened when they went from the 14 game to the 16 game schedule.
Right.
I mean, you ended up seeing a lot of records shattered, and you don't see pretty much any of those 14 game single season records standing anywhere anymore because 2 games it seems it made a lot of difference. So we'll see what one game does for this season.
Yeah, absolutely. So where do you want to start? What I guess I'll put you on the spot. What record is most likely to go down for the Falcons? You're going through this article again. Check it out at falcoholic.com. Written by I'll get the author, Evan Birchfield. He does good work for.
He does good work for them. He always has. Yeah.
What I have one in mind, but what record do you think is most likely to what Falcons record is most likely?
It's hard to say because I would have said with Julio Jones on the team, Calvin Ridley kind of taking over the man spot on the Falcons wide receiving core, that the single season touchdown record, receiving touchdown record might go down. Because that one is owned by Andre Rison. You don't hear that name too often these days. But definitely a prominent figure in Falcons history. And owns that record with 15 touchdown catches. I'm surprised actually that it's only 15. It seems to me like the Falcons have had better receivers in their history, and that I mean, and not to take anything away from our friend Terrence Mathis, but he's 4th on the list in single season touchdown record. So with 11, so I think that one could easily go down. I think Calvin Ridley could do it. However, you got a team that's going to be spreading the ball out quite a bit.
Yeah.
And we don't know what their red zone philosophy is going to be right now. As far as what they try to do once they get inside the 20-yard line, is it going to be, more Hayden Hurst and Pitts, or are you going to see them take shots, into the end zone? And Matt Ryan is a guy who can take those shots.
Yeah.
Don't take anything away from him. He can take those shots downfield, and Calvin Ridley's the kind of guy who can come down with it. So I would say that one looks fairly good to me. But I don't know. Which one do you say?
I like the quarterback records. It's more and more passing every single year. I know Matt Ryan's getting closer to the end of his career. Maybe he's not in his prime anymore, but maybe not. The touchdowns, 38 touchdowns might be tough. He had 28 touchdowns last year. So the extra game, obviously, he's not going to throw 10 touchdowns in that extra game. But he might throw for some more touchdowns. Even in a 16-game season, I think he would have been a candidate for 30. So is he in the 35 range with 17 games? I think he could get to 30, 34, 35. And the passing yards, I mean, just the extra game alone is going to add to 200, 250, maybe if it's a great game, 300 extra passing yards. And Matt Ryan was, over 4,800 passing yards again last year. I guess it might depend a lot on, how often are the Falcons behind in games? Are they going to be passing a lot in the third and fourth quarter to elevate those stats? That's been the case with Ryan the last couple of years, maybe, that he's been throwing a lot because they've been behind. And if that's the case again, I think he's a candidate for 5,000 yards if he stays healthy.
That could be. I think he could do it. Yeah, I think that's definitely a possibility. I think he still has the arm for it. I still think he has the wide receiving core that can do it, that could step in and still do this kind of job. And, I like the teaming of Pitts and Hayden Hurst. I think that's going to help the Falcons and loosen up the field a bit for the wide receivers. So, it's very possible that they do go over that Matt Ryan could hit that 5,000 yard mark. He's already number 1 through number 9 on the Falcons list for receiving yards. I mean, he's the top quarterback in Falcons history. He's the 9th best quarterback in Falcons history, and going farther down.
Right.
But 38 touchdowns is way. Don't go expecting that from him right now. But yardage, I don't see why not.
So I'm looking at the all-time single-season rankings for yardage, and we've had 12 5,000-yard seasons, and Drew Brees is responsible for 5 of them. So we've only had, 5-6 quarterbacks throw for 5,000 yards. Is that right?
I think Matt Stafford's done it. Aaron Rodgers, I think, has done it. So, it's an elite group that have done 5,000 yards in a season.
Aaron Rodgers has not done it.
Rodgers didn't do it?
No.
I'm sure Rodgers made that.
I should have made this my trivia question today.
Yeah, you should have.
What?
I know Matt Stafford did it.
Yeah, it's 8 quarterbacks. Can you name the 8 quarterbacks that have thrown for 5,000 yards?
Oh, God. You do this to me. Oh, God.
Mad Mike, and anybody listening, Tom needs your help.
Yeah, I need your help. Definitely.
You got Matt Stafford. I gave you Drew Brees.
Gave me Drew Brees. Phillip Rivers ever do it?
No.
No, he didn't have the receivers.
It's mostly big names. Don't overthink it too much.
Elway?
No.
No.
Recent big name.
Andrew Luck? No.
Who just won the Super Bowl?
Tom Brady?
Tom Brady has I
don't think he ever had it. I didn't realize he ever had a 5,000-yard season. Okay.
2011.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. Tom Brady, I'm telling you. That's amazing. Because I don't equate him with, racking up a lot of yards in offense. But
true.
Yeah, apparently.
He had one season where, he had a lot of yards.
Okay.
Pantera is helping you out. He's got a few here.
Pantera? Okay. Peyton Manning. Tom Brady's big, his quarterback rival for 10, 15 years. Yeah, so Peyton Manning had to be one.
Yep.
Has Mahomes done it?
Yeah.
Okay, Mahomes has done it.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't sure if he did it or if he was in the high 4,000s. So Mahomes broke one. Roethlisberger ever get there?
Yeah, he did.
He did. Oh, my God.
2018.
Okay.
So you got most of them. You're missing 2 guys. One guy is a Hall of Famer, but an older player. Not Elway, somebody else from Elway's draft class.
Somebody else from Elway's draft class.
Watson is not correct, Pantera. But he's got Pantera has the other name you're missing, though, in his previous guess. There you go. Winston. Jameis Winston.
Jameis Winston, that's right.
Yeah.
Was that the year he threw 30 interceptions and 30 touchdowns?
Yes.
5,000 yards.
Yep. The greatest statistical season ever.
Oh, God, yeah.
Winston, and then there's one name left that he did this way before 5,000 yards was popular. Because I'm looking at the list, 2013, 2011, 2016, 2012, 2013, 2018, 2019, 2018, 1984 this season. This quarterback threw for 5,000
Dan
yards.
Marino.
Yes.
That was his first season, I think. That was his rookie season.
Was he a rookie or
second? Or maybe it was his second season.
I think it was second season.
Second season. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, right.
So those are the guys, those 8 guys. We've had 13, well, I'm sorry, no, 12 seasons of 5,000 yard passing. How many are we going to get in 2021?
Well, I would say Mahomes gets there. It's interesting. Brady still has the wide receivers to do it. I don't know if he has the arm to do it. I mean, the guy's going to be 43. He's going to need a rocket-propelled wheelchair to play quarterback pretty soon. So, he's going to need like a brace on his arm, which kind of helps him. He'll be more robot Brady than Tom Brady. But, oh, God.
Well, I'm looking at last year's, numbers, and that, it can be very different year to year. But Sean Watson not going to play this year. He led the league in passing, 4,800 yards. Mahomes was second with 4,740. You figure if there was a 17th game last year, he probably reaches 5,000 yards, or he could have reached 5,000 yards if he played in week 17 last year. He missed that game.
Yeah.
Brady is over 4,600 yards last year. Matt Ryan is over 4,500, along with Josh Allen. And Justin Herbert didn't play in week 1, and he was at 4,336.
I was saying maybe Josh Allen, hits that mark this year. It's interesting. Matt Stafford does have, he's going to the Rams with Sean McVay. So it's going to be interesting to see if he can bring those yardage numbers back up. I wouldn't be surprised if Matt Stafford hits 5,000 yards again. He can't beat a team that's over 500 when he plays them, but he any team that actually has a winning record when they play Matt Stafford ends up, winning that game. But other than that, I mean, Stafford can throw the hell out of the ball. He just can't. If you're not a winning team, he'll beat the heck out of you.
I guess I gotta defend Stafford a little bit. He is playing for Detroit, and no running game, very little defense. He's got Aaron Donald now. That's something.
He was throwing the heck out of the ball, and he couldn't do anything. I mean, come on.
You're right. But he did not get much help in Detroit.
All right, we'll see. We'll see. I'm not big on Matthew Stafford train. I've watched him play quarterback, for years now, twice a year, being a Bears fan. Not always impressed. So we'll see what happens with him.
Oh, I'm referencing a recent Lions-Bears matchup in week 1 last year. I mean, DeAndre Swift drops the game-winning touchdown.
Drops the great game-winning touchdown. Yes, he did.
That is not on Matthew Stafford. Matthew Stafford threw the game-winning touchdown after his defense blew the game. And
Stafford hit him in the hands
to win, and Swift dropped the ball.
I know, but Stafford hit him in the hands. I mean, that was the worst spot he could have hit Swift. If he had made Swift reach for the ball or something, Swift probably would have caught it. But hit him in the hands, perfect stride, and so that was Stafford's fault. He shouldn't have hit him in the hands, in perfect stride. Yeah, I remember that. Believe me. Oh.
So I think, based on last year's,
I don't know. Does Justin Fields get 5,000 yards this year?
Justin. I'm going to say no on that one. I'm going to go with Mahomes. I'm going to go with Matt Ryan, Josh Allen.
Okay.
And what the heck? I'll throw in Justin Herbert. I'm going to go with 4. I think there will be 4 5,000-yard passers this year.
That very well could be. I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised at any of them, it's probably your best bet. That's probably if you want to go out in Vegas and place money on it, take Dave's list. I think he's got it down.
I don't know if I would suggest taking my list to Vegas, but stash it away for your fantasy draft. If you're looking for a guy that's a 5,000-yard candidate as your quarterback, although I have preached wait on your quarterback, and I would still say that wait on your quarterback. So these guys probably aren't the guys you want necessarily drafting early. But hey, if Justin Herbert is a later round pick or Matt Ryan is a later round pick, he's not highly regarded as long as you're not playing in a league with other Falcons fans.
I'm going to remember that advice this year.
Wait on your quarterback.
Wait on your quarterback. And
it's very. I've got it from other experts. I didn't invent the idea. The experts at FF Champs. I'm a disciple of Bill Enright at FF Champs, and now he's at Sports Illustrated doing fantasy football stuff. And that was one of his 10 commandments. And really, that probably is the most important of all of his 10 commandments is wait on your quarterback in your draft.
Okay, that's great. I'm all for it. As I say, I'm going to follow it. And if I get my butt kicked in fantasy next year, well,
and you'll blame me.
I'll be looking for you.
Okay. Okay. So does anybody, we've established 5 we're looking at 4. I'm saying 4. I guess we'll bet just for fun. We'll say 3 over under 3.5 for 5,000-yard passers this year. I'm going over, but does anybody get over the record? 5,477.
Well, you're missing Matt Ryan too, because we just got done saying that it's possible with the receiving core he has that Matt Ryan could hit 5,000.
I think I said Matt Ryan, didn't I?
Did you say Ryan in your list? Okay, maybe you did.
I got Holmes, got Matt Ryan, Josh Allen, Justin Herbert.
Okay,
those are my 4. It could be a lot more if Watson was playing, if Aaron Rodgers was going to be playing. I mean,
we don't know about Rodgers yet.
But we don't know about Rodgers. We're pretty sure Watson's not going to play. Brady is a year older, so I'm not going to put him in this group. So I'm looking at 4. I'm going we'll set the over under at 3.5. I'm going over.
Okay, that is the official show over under. For 5,000 yards passing next season.
Right. Yeah. But
write that down.
Right. Does anybody get over Peyton Manning's record though? The record is 5,477.
No, I don't think so. Possible Stafford does it. He's got the receiving talent in Los Angeles to be able to do it. He's probably not going to set a record for wins this year, but he may just throw for 5,500 yards.
All right. So
I've watched Stafford for a long time, Dave. Don't just laugh off what I have to say about Matthew Stafford.
I just think it's a little funny. That's all. That you have such little faith in. I'm not saying he's a great quarterback, but he's the best quarterback Detroit's had in a while.
Yes, he is.
It's better than Jared Goff.
I think he's 0-1 in the playoffs or 0-2 in the playoffs too.
Yeah. He is. I think it's 0-2.
So,
was it 0-2?
I say it
might be.
Faces a team with a winning record. So we'll see how it goes.
He lost that game in the crazy postseason that was in 2014, January 2015. His Lions, you remember this game, the penalty that wasn't called or the flag that was thrown, but no foul was called for Detroit. It was Detroit trying to drive into field goal range, I think, against Dallas.
Yeah. So,
again, it was,
but he doesn't win.
But the phantom, no penalty call wasn't on him.
Yeah, but he was in the game.
All right.
I'm sorry. I'm making light of it, but it is something that you got to look at with Matt Stafford. I mean, you've got over 10 years of games that you can look at and see how Matt Stafford performs or how his team performs around him when they are playing a winning team.
All right. I don't know. I'll have to come up with a stronger defense for Matthew Stafford.
Good luck with that.
But for the most part, I'm on your side that he's not a winning quarterback. He's not a quarterback I necessarily want. But if I've already got a strong team, which is what the Rams believe that they do, and they believe the only missing piece they have is quarterback, I think they upgraded quarterback. Did they pay too much for him? Is he overpaid? Yes. But did they upgrade quarterback?
Yeah, but I think they feel like their window is now. And that's why they made this move now.
Right.
The Rams feel like their Super Bowl window is here.
Right.
And there's nothing else they can do. This is the place where they had to shore up. Jared Goff fell off from his first year with Sean McVay, and maybe wasn't the quarterback that everybody thought. I mean, maybe the Patriots exposed a lot of weaknesses in that Super Bowl that maybe nobody had caught on to with Jared Goff, and he's had it rough since then, and
also not playing with an all-pro running back anymore.
No, but he's had exceptional receivers, but that's true. I mean, running back, it does make a difference. Here's Bogey. Yeah, Bogey.
My point was that just those were
Bogey doesn't. Bogey says no. Aaron Matthew Stafford, no. But that's what Bogey is saying.
Okay. All right.
Bogey agrees with me.
Well, getting back to our conversation about Falcons records that could go down, I think what could be fun is the kicking records, because Younghoe Koo really is a really great young kicker, and could he break the field goal made record? And if the Falcons are behind in a bunch of games, I don't know, what's the record for most onside kicks recovered in a season? Could Younghoe Koo reach that record?
I'm sure he could, actually, because he's the only one who can do it.
Right. Yeah.
I'm surprised more kickers haven't picked up on how he approaches it, because he seems to be the only kicker in the NFL who can do onside kicks. And I don't know if they actually have a record for it. I think maybe they should. It would be interesting. Yeah. What? Yes. So, yeah. But the problem with Younghoe Koo is if he's breaking his single season field goal record.
Well, yeah.
Then you got a problem,
right?
Because you're not putting the ball in the end zone.
Well, we talked about the Falcons' problem last year in the red zone. We've talked about that a lot. And you're right. Hopefully that's not a record that they're breaking. Hopefully the record he's breaking is extra points made.
Yes, there you go.
And Matt
Bryant's record.
Yeah, that's a record from the Super Bowl year, going to the Super Bowl trip year in 2016, 56.
Yeah, so that's the record you're shooting for.
Right.
But, you don't want to see him beating the field goal record, because that's saying that you've got problems in offense. You can't close. You're getting down into positive, territory, and you're not closing. You're not sealing the deal. So that's where we don't want to see Koo beat his field goal record. And neither does Bogey. Bogey says no. Don't want to see him beat his field goal record. So, but he's capable of doing a lot. At least they have him, because after Matt Bryant left, that was a major train wreck for a while as far as the kicker position. Before they found Koo and settled on him, and he's become the guy for the Falcons.
And he wasn't a sure thing when they picked him up either, because he kicked for the Chargers in 2017, and he lasted like 2 games. He missed I think he missed or had a extra point blocked in Monday Night Football, week 1 against Denver. He cost them the game, whatever it was. Was it blocked or missed extra point or missed?
I think it was just missed.
I think it was multiple kicks missed or blocked.
Yeah.
In that game. And then he cost them another game later in the season or later in September and then got cut. So to find him after who was the kicker that it was oh
God.
Tavecchio.
Yes.
It was him that came in for that was supposed to replace Matt Bryant. Then they brought back Matt Bryant out of retirement.
But Bryant
should have retired.
He shouldn't have unretired.
and then they found Younghoe Koo, which has been a fantastic find. I'm looking at the kicker rankings on Fantasy Pros, and kickers are not something that we're going to be talking a lot about with fantasy football, but Younghoe Koo is 3rd on the consensus rankings heading into the 2021 season. I think that's a good spot for him. Top 4, top 3.
So do I. I think he's one of the best kickers in the league. Absolutely. No doubt about it. There's no questioning it. He has become one of the best kickers in the league.
Not only that, for fantasy purposes, he kicks inside, so he's in weather-controlled environments. There's a lot of games on the road that he kicks inside in New Orleans or in good weather, Tampa Bay. Mm-hmm. And if the offense moves the ball, and you don't mind them if you got Younghoe Koo, you don't mind the offense sputtering in the red zone because you're getting field goals. But if the Falcons,
from a fantasy perspective, yes. From a
right. I'm talking just fantasy,
right?
But if you're a Falcons fan and you're getting Younghoe Koo for your fantasy team and you want your team to score more touchdowns, Younghoe Koo is still going to be a good asset for fantasy because he's been kicking extra points. So you like the Falcons offense because they move the ball. Whether they're kicking field goals or scoring touchdowns this season, Younghoe Koo is going to be valuable in fantasy is my point.
Yeah, yes. And let's hope he breaks the extra point record.
Right. Yeah.
So let's see him take Matt Bryant down. And if he does that, the Falcons have had a highly successful season and are going to be in playoffs.
Absolutely. That definitely means that, yeah.
So that's a record you all want to look at. Extra points. Can Younghoe Koo break the extra point record? So,
all right. So
in that case, maybe that 15 touchdown, catches in the season does go down. Rison's record, and you could see Matt Ryan, anywhere from 32 to 36 touchdown passes. So so you come close. And it's all positive. So let's look for it in the season. Everything's possible.
Absolutely, yeah, and it's going to be exciting again, seeing what records will go down with this extra game. And I know you've talked about it before. Maybe we won't see as many records go down as we think we will, because it's harder to stay healthy for that extra game.
That's true. That's a possibility. That's something they have to look at. You look at like Derrick Henry came very close to the single season rushing record.
Right.
But you look at Derrick Henry having to go 17 games. He's had over 300 carries the last 2 seasons. That is a low. That is tough to maintain. So you got to say, can Derrick Henry definitely can, with a 17-game season, pass the single season rushing record. Is he durable enough? Because he's already had 2 seasons of heavy use. Normally you would say a running back getting over 250 carries in the season is heavy.
Right.
You're relying on your running back heavily. Derrick Henry's at over 300 yards, 300 carries last 2 seasons. Right. And what does that bode for the Falcons this season with Smith coming here as head coach? Is he relying more on the running game with Mike Davis? And I heard you guys talking about Quadri Ellison last week.
Yeah, we did talk about him. Yeah. Mhm.
So, do you see more running the football? Maybe Matt Ryan, maybe there's more reliance on running the football uh, and using the two tight end sets and running the tight ends down the seam. So, again, you got to see the philosophy. You got to see how the offense develops under Smith before we can see, uh, and we're talking possibilities, but it's going to be interesting to see how this offense does develop because I think we're going to get a good idea after about the second week of the season.
Well, if Younghoe Koo wants to have a crack at that extra point record, I think Mike Davis has got to be scoring a bunch of touchdowns too, and Allison, because we're putting Matt Ryan's cap at like 36 touchdowns, which I think is a realistic cap. You got to get another 20 touchdowns somewhere.
Hey, Michael Turner might be sweating in his shoes because I think he has a touchdown record.
Maybe. So. I mean, that would be if that happened. If Davis even comes close to that, that would be fantastic. It would mean so many good things for the Falcons. It would mean they're running the ball. It would mean that their red zone problems are probably gone. Yep. It would mean they're a playoff team.
Yeah, their offense is working and they're a playoff team. Exactly. You got it. So,
as far as your Derrick Henry comment, I think you're absolutely right that he could break the all-time record, but we've had 8 1,000-yard seasons, 2,000-yard seasons from running backs in history. No one's ever done it twice, let alone back-to-back years. Right. So history, even with the extra game, I just can't see Henry getting to 2,000 and then he's got to get another 100 to get over Dickerson's record.
Right. So I don't see it. I love Derrick Henry. I love the way he runs. He's got more speed than you would expect out of a power back.
Absolutely.
Because if he gets loose, he's gone. You cannot catch him from behind, and that's a huge asset. But trying to do over 300 carries again next season, I don't see it. I think he might start breaking down earlier than most backs do. So
Derrick Henry, adding a fantasy spin to it, he is the 3rd ranked running back among the expert consensus rankings right now on Fantasy Pros. He's behind Christian McCaffrey and Dalvin Cook, which I think they're pretty much everybody's 1-2. It's hard to argue that. Henry there in the same tier. What I also like about Fantasy Pros is they put players in tiers at each position, basically helping you. If you miss on Cook or McCaffrey, basically what Fantasy Pros is saying, you have the 3rd pick, you can get Henry, and there's not that much of a drop-off. Statistically, last year, the last couple of years, absolutely. I mean, there is no drop-off at all, but talking about, the low that he's been having the last couple of years, and can he do that again, that kind of puts a doubt in my mind whether I feel comfortable taking Henry 3rd among the running backs this fall.
Yeah, I think it should. As I say, 250 carries is considered a heavy load for running back. 300 is unprecedented. I really am. I ought to look that up actually to see how many running backs have had that kind of load during a season. Have had that much put on their shoulders during a season. It's a tough thing to do. And Henry's a guy, he'll take you on. He'll take you on head to head.
Right. Yeah, he's not avoiding contact running out of bounds.
No. Exactly.
He's got 378 rushes and he scored 17 touchdowns. So you can subtract 378 from 17 touchdowns, and that's how many times at least that he was hit on a play. Because maybe he wasn't hit when he scored a touchdown, but that's it. Those are the only plays that maybe he didn't make contact with somebody.
Right. Exactly. So, I want to see how he comes back this year. I think he has the potential. I think out of all the running backs in the National Football League, if you're looking for somebody to break the rushing record, given one extra game, Derrick Henry's the guy. But it's going to be rough. I want to see how he can stand up over a 17 game schedule now.
He's been, healthy the last few years when he's led the league in rushing in 2019, 2020. But everything okay there?
It appears I'm getting a weather warning on my computer or on my phone.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, we got a tornado warning. Let's see. So, yeah, we got bad weather right now. So it's not good. And I think I just got a. It's all right.
We'll wrap up soon so you can, seek shelter if you need to. Or do you need to go right now and seek shelter?
Davis is a low mileage running back. Expect MD to get 20 touches and 15 for the rest. Well, it depends on who the rest of the running back group is. Quadri Allison's been team a couple of years now, but they haven't really used him. So
I think that's going to change this year.
It better. It really needs to. Let's hope so, because I think the Falcons need that. I think they need Allison to actually come out and produce this year. He's not going to give you record production, but I think he can give you that good second back production that you need. Because I agree, Mike Davis isn't going to carry the load by himself. So let's see who else, who can pick up the slack at running back for the Falcons.
Right.
We're at 51 minutes. I want to get into this Bears thing real quick.
Oh, yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. Yeah.
Because some big news here in Chicago, and pretty big is Arlington Park is a thoroughbred racetrack. Is built like a palace for racehorses, for racing. And this is their final season. They're going to close up after this season. Horse racing is basically dead here in Chicago.
Everywhere else, too.
Yeah. So, but it sits on 380 acres. And the Bears have put in a bid to purchase the land where Arlington Park is in Arlington Heights, Illinois, about 20 miles west of Chicago. And everybody in Chicago is having a big deal about it, but they're going to be outside Chicago. They can't call themselves the Chicago Bears anymore. Yeah, well, Santa Clara is 100 miles from San Francisco. They're still called the San Francisco 49ers.
I mean, we have that here in Atlanta. The Braves don't play in Atlanta. They play in Cobb County, where I am. And I'm being told I don't live in Atlanta anymore. I was like, the Braves are 10 minutes from me. How am I not in Atlanta? But that's the way.
Jets and Giants play in New Jersey.
Right.
So I mean, it's Chicago land. It's not a far out. It's not 50 miles away from Chicago. It's within the metro area. But the thing is moving out of Soldier Field. And I've seen some comments where everybody thinks that, oh, this is terrible. The Bears are moving out of Soldier Field. I want to see the Bears stay on the lakefront. I really do. I want to see them stay in Chicago within the city limits. I don't think it's possible anymore. I think Arlington Heights is going to be the place. Soldier Field, the history, the Bears had to move the Soldier Field from Wrigley Field. They played in Wrigley Field till 1970. And then with the merger, one of the key points in the merger was every team had to have a stadium over 50,000 capacity. So the Bears had to move the Soldier Field from Wrigley. So
they've only been playing there since 1970?
71 was that
71? Really? Oh, I didn't know. I mean, I know that's old, but I thought it was much older.
No.
Okay.
No, they played at Wrigley Field. When they came to Chicago, when George Halas moved them to Chicago, he took control of the team. It was a factory team, and he brought it to Chicago. And he was a Cubs fan, and that's why he took the nickname Bears. and moved the team into Wrigley Field. So, so they moved to Soldier Field. Soldier Field was never really configured for football. Soldier Field was a monument for World War One. The soldiers lost in World War One, and you played football there. 2/3 of the seats were actually end zone seats. So you had large. It's almost like you had large, very wide stadium, but very narrow as far as seating. So at that time, they could do about 60,000, but it's never really worked right for the Bears in the NFL. It's not an easy stadium to get to.
So it is an old stadium. It's just the Bears have only played there since '71.
Yes, it's an old stadium. Oh, they've done all kinds. I mean, Soldier Field has hosted quite a bit of history.
I thought so. I thought it was a very old stadium.
Yeah, very old. They have, I think, when Pope John Paul came to the U.S., Soldier Field was where he appeared when he was in Chicago, or Grant Park, but basically the same thing. You a boxing fan? Boxing history?
No.
All right. Jack Dempsey and Gene Tunney fought their second heavyweight championship fight at Soldier Field in front of over 100,000 fans.
Wow.
Because you could expand the seating at Soldier Field that wide.
Mm-hmm.
That was the one where Dempsey knocked down Tunney, refused to go to the new rule going to the neutral corner, and the referee kept pushing him towards the neutral corner. Well, Dempsey wanted to finish off Tunney when he got up. And Tunney actually had 15, 16 seconds to get up. And you could see around the 6 count, Tunney's looking at the referee, waiting for him to, count 8 so he could get up. And so it's called the long count in boxing history. And then Tunney stayed away from Dempsey for the rest of the round, and then he was fine. Dempsey couldn't connect again because he couldn't catch up with him. Tunney changed the game. He used more of a mover than a slugger, and Dempsey was a power puncher. So, but one of the great heavyweight title fights was held there. But it's been held a lot of events. In 1978, the Bears threatened to move to Arlington Heights, and they came to a deal with Soldier Field, with the Park District, where they did renovations. And I think 2001, 2002 is when they put the toilet bowl inside of the stadium. If you got to live in Chicago to know what I'm talking about. Their renovation actually update Soldier Field was a disaster. They actually went from over 60,000 capacity to 56,000. So they lost capacity. They were able to put in more luxury boxes, and they were able to bring fans closer to the field, but they always had a problem with, then they had a problem with the grass when they put in the grass. The grass has never been reliable since 1988. It's never been a good field, a good home for the Bears. There's always been problems. Depending on the seating, and now that they put they did the major update to Soldier Field, it's been delisted as a national heritage site. So that was terrible. When they agreed to do that, they actually needed to do a retractable roof, a modern NFL stadium. Modern amenities, modern scoreboard. Most places were already doing retractable roof stadiums at that time.
But in Chicago, that just seems sacrilegious to be playing inside.
Dome is sacrilegious.
Okay.
The retractable roof, I get, you can get around that. That's fine.
But it's going to be closed when it's cold, I would assume.
Exactly. And it gets rid of this stupid, idiotic crap about the fans all talking about bear weather. It's bear weather. It's 20 degrees. It's 10 degrees. the other team's going to freeze our butts off. We're going to beat the crap out of them because, we like cold weather. We're, it's a pile of crap.
You should be living down here in Atlanta.
I've been to Atlanta plenty of times, actually, so I am familiar with the city. So, but, putting in a retractable roof stadium with a capacity for, 70,000 modern amenities, you would see a Super Bowl here in Chicago. Chicago would go on a Super Bowl rotation schedule to start with. So what they're planning, and Arlington Park is actually owned by the Churchill Downs Group that owns Churchill Downs in Kentucky. They are now partnering with the Chicago Bears. The Bears have kind of partnered with the Churchill Downs Group for, let's see. Okay, they've agreed to a multi-year deal with Rivers Casino, which is not too far from here, and I guess Churchill Downs Group owns Rivers Casino, so the sponsorship group and Churchill Downs Group is the one who's going to approve the winning bid. So right now it looks like the Bears have everything going their way to win this bid. And it's over 300 acres, and the Bears are talking about putting in, doing like what the Rams did with SoFi, what other teams have done with not just the stadium, but a whole virtual experience all around the park. And the Chicago City Council is struck down twice when the Bears have tried to build a stadium in Chicago. In 1978, when they were threatening to move to Arlington Heights. They were talking about building a dome stadium in Chicago. And city council said no. And the city council and the mayor are not taking this seriously right now. They think, the Bears' lease at Soldier Field runs through 2033. But you can buy out that lease. And the NFL will help them buy out that lease. And the NFL will help them build the stadium. So, there's money to do this. And it really looks like the era of the Bears down by the Chicago lakefront might be coming to an end, because I think Soldier Field is going to be, I think they're going to end up moving out of Soldier Field within the next 10 years. They're probably going to win that bid, win the land, and start putting up a stadium in Arlington Heights. And, it's going to be disappointing, because you like that view of the lakefront when, the national cameras come around. But you also got to work together. And right now, Chicago's not willing to work together with the Bears on the solution. And even with the rehab of Soldier Field for the last 20 years, it really hasn't been a solution. It's worked okay, but the capacity doesn't work. So it's going to be interesting to see what the Bears end up doing. But I think eventually, kind of like what the Falcons did, with Mercedes-Benz Stadium, is you build the stadium and move. And I think that's going to be the case with Chicago too. They're going to build a state-of-the-art NFL stadium. So. But it's something to keep an eye on as things go on. There's news about it every day. This latest thing about Churchill Downs coming out is new, and makes it sound like this is a serious bid that the Bears are making to build this stadium in Arlington Heights. And if the Chicago Mayor, City Council don't start taking it seriously pretty soon, they're not going to be able to do anything about it. So,
I got to get to Soldier Field then before this move happens, because I've never been there, and I've got a lifetime bucket list of going to every a home game for every single of the professional sports teams in the United States and Canada. And I would much rather see a Bears game at Soldier Field than whatever they build next. I probably will try and go there too, but I want to go to Soldier Field.
I think it's going to be nice. Actually, it's Soldier Field, and as I say, it's a good stadium, but it's not the quality. It's not that type of stadium that teams are building now. And this is Chicago, and you really need a retractable roof stadium. Yeah, for when the weather does turn a little bit chilly, and I know everybody's going to say, "Oh, Bears fans are getting soft." I mean, the Vikings haven't been to a Super Bowl since they moved out of Metropolitan Stadium. So,
Sure.
but since Bud Grant was walking around that place in the shirt sleeves. So,
Yeah.
So
I do want to push back on that idea of Chicago needs a retractable roof, but we are out of time. So we'll have to bring this back up next week or the week after and I'm sure there'll be more developments in the story that we'll bring to our fans.
Yeah, I'm sure there will. There's a lot going to go on about this over the next couple of months. So we'll see.
Well, thanks for making us part of your Saturday. Follow us on Twitter at TJ Pollen, at DM Holcomb. Please like and subscribe this video if you enjoyed it, and check out the rest of what's on the Atlanta Sports Unlimited channel on YouTube. Thanks, everybody.